The key to consistency, even when you're not motivated, James Clear: consistency is the invisible architecture of every lasting achievement. When you look at a thriving company, an enviable investment portfolio, or a life lived with purpose, what lies beneath the surface is a latticework of small, repeated actions performed long after the initial spark of enthusiasm has cooled. Entrepreneurs swear by it, seasoned investors depend on it, elite performers refine it. Yet for many of us, the simple act of showing up, especially on the hard days, feels like wrestling a ghost we can't quite pin down. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, offers a blueprint that demystifies how ordinary routines compound into extraordinary results. His core premise is deceptively simple: proper systems beat fleeting motivation every time. In the pages ahead, you will discover why motivation alone is unreliable, how to build an environment that pulls you forward, and what practical levers you can pull today to become the kind of person who follows through even when inspiration is nowhere to be found. Why motivation fades and dreams stall. Motivation is mercurial. One moment, you're fired up after hearing a keynote about scaling your startup to 8 figures. The next, you're knee-deep in invoices, legal forms, and an inbox overflowing with investor inquiries. Your once electric drive fizzles into a low hum of obligation. The neuroscience backs up this lived experience. Dopamine spikes at the promise of reward, then returns to baseline when reality presents its inevitable friction. This biochemical ebb and flow explains why the average gym sees a 50% drop-off in attendance by mid-February, and why new ventures often stall when the glow of the launch subsides. Entrepreneurs, business owners, and investors face an additional twist: there is rarely instant feedback. Product iterations can take quarters, sometimes years. Investment theses may need entire market cycles to prove their worth. The gap between effort and outcome widens, and within that gap lurks doubt, fear, and the seductive call of easier pursuits. The popular remedy, "get motivated again," is like telling a drowning sailor to just swim harder. It ignores the structural forces dragging us under. James Clear reframes the entire conversation. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. In other words, when motivation inevitably dips, only well-designed habits, automatic, frictionless, aligned with your identity, can carry you across the trough of disillusionment. The high cost of inconsistency. Inconsistent execution taxes every domain of professional life. For a startup founder, sporadic product updates confuse early adopters and open the door to faster rivals. For a portfolio manager, irregular research invites blind spots that jeopardize capital. For small business owners, unpredictable customer engagement erodes trust faster than any competitor's ad campaign ever could. Worse, inconsistency compounds in the wrong direction. Each missed sales call, skipped workout, or postponed team stand-up plants a seed of permission. I got away with it once, perhaps I can get away with it again. Over time, those seeds sprout into weeds of self-doubt and cynicism, strangling the very initiative you once called a dream. The psychological blow is subtle but brutal. You promise yourself you'll do better tomorrow, yet tomorrow arrives dressed as an ever busier today. Eventually, you stop believing your own promises. This erosion of self-trust is the silent killer of entrepreneurial potential. Venture capital data reveals a startling pattern. Founders who abandon consistent product sprints within the first year have an 80% higher chance of premature shutdown. In the investment realm, Morningstar research shows that investor returns often lag fund returns because people enter and exit positions erratically, chasing emotional highs instead of following a steady plan. The James Clear framework for unshakable consistency. James Clear's approach hinges on 4 cornerstone ideas: identity-based habits, the 4 laws of behavior change, environment design, and mastery of the plateau. Each component works like a gear in a precision timepiece. Together, they keep you moving when motivation stalls. 1. Identity-based habits. Become before you achieve. Goals ask, what do you want? Systems ask, how will you get it? Identity asks, who are you becoming? Clear argues that lasting consistency stems from adopting the identity of someone who naturally behaves as desired. If you identify as a disciplined CEO, daily outreach calls are no longer chores, they are proof of who you already are. For investors, seeing yourself as a diligent researcher makes reading quarterly filings a matter of personal integrity rather than drudgery. Implementation tip: write an identity statement in the present tense. I am the kind of founder who ships updates weekly, or I am the type of investor who reviews macro data every Friday. Post it on your laptop lid. Tiny environmental cues reinforce identity every time you open the device. 2. The 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Obvious. Schedule tasks on a visible calendar. Block trading analysis on your morning planner instead of leaving it to whim. Attractive. Bundle a necessary task with a preferred one. Listen to a favorite podcast only while reconciling expenses. Easy. Reduce friction. If you plan to write a market memo, open the document template the night before so the first keystroke feels effortless. Satisfying. Celebrate micro wins. Each cent investor update earns a green check mark on a tracking board. The visual progress becomes addictive. Neuroscience shows that habits stick when the brain receives immediate reward. For long horizon ventures, create artificial wins that close the feedback loop. 3. Environment design. Shape the path of least resistance. Clear insists that environment is the invisible hand guiding behavior. A messy desk signals chaos. A lockdown phone signals focus. Digital environments matter just as much. Turn off non-critical notifications. Keep only research-relevant tabs pinned. In an office, position your marketing dashboard on a communal screen. Social accountability rises. For investors, use watch lists that highlight only thesis-aligned assets. Hide speculative tickers that invite impulsive trades. Business applications are profound. A manufacturing executive who reorganized his plant floor to align with lean workflow reduced error rates by 30%, not through pep talks but through environment redesign. 4. Mastery of the plateau. Loving the process when results are invisible. Every worthwhile endeavor features a valley of latent potential, the frustrating stretch where you input immense effort without visible return. Clear's antidote is the plateau of latent potential chart. Progress is not linear, it is exponential with a delayed payoff. Knowing this shifts your expectation horizon. Consistency, then, is an act of faith grounded in mathematics, not mysticism. Practical drill. Track leading indicators rather than lagging ones. A SaaS founder measures weekly call demos controllable instead of monthly revenue delayed. A dividend investor logs research hours rather than portfolio value. By winning the leading indicators, you guarantee the lagging ones will eventually follow. Putting it all together, a 30-day consistency protocol for high performers. Day 1-3, craft an identity statement, list one habit that validates it. Day 4-10, apply the 4 laws to that habit. For example, set a reading sessions obvious, pair with premium coffee attractive, preload articles on a Kindle easy, tick a habit tracker grid satisfying. Day 11-20, audit and adjust your environment. Remove 10 digital distractions, introduce visual cues such as a Kanban board. Day 21-30, shift focus to leading indicators. If you're an entrepreneur, track proposals sent. If you're an investor, log valuation models reviewed. Share your tracker with a trusted peer for accountability. Repeat, iterate, refine. Layer new habits only after the first becomes autopilot. Real-world case studies. Startup founder, Maya's SaaS journey. Maya struggled to push code after landing her seed round. She reframed her identity. I am a founder who delivers value every sprint. She instituted a habit of writing one test case before checking email. Obvious test template and editor. Attractive playlist. Easy pre-opened IDE. Satisfying team Slack kudos. 6 months later, churn dropped from 7% to 3%. Investors extended a Series A at favorable terms. Portfolio manager, Raj's Emerging Markets Fund. Raj battled analysis fatigue. He embraced the identity I am the investor who never misses a weekday macro brief. His desk now features a printed global calendar. He pairs the read with gourmet chocolate. The process takes 12 minutes. In 18 months, his fund's volatility fell by 20% compared with benchmark peers, and client retention hit a 5-year high. Franchise owner, Elena's Fitness Studios. Elena oversees 9 gyms and once relied on bursts of motivation to visit each location. She installed an environment-driven routine. Each Monday, her CRM auto-populates a studio visit route optimized by traffic patterns. A dedicated driver frees her to review KPI dashboards between stops. Turnaround time on equipment repairs shrank by 40%, driving a 15% uptick in member satisfaction scores. Conclusions: Consi is not a personality trait bestowed upon the lucky few. It is a craft you can engineer. James Clear's methodology shows that when identity, environment, and systems converge, you become unstoppable, not because you feel inspired every morning, but because you no longer need inspiration as a prerequisite for action. Entrepreneurs will find their products shipping on schedule. Business owners will see cultures of reliability bloom. Investors will ride out market storms with stoic calm. In a world obsessed with hacks, the ultimate advantage is being the professional who simply never breaks the chain. If this article sparked a shift in how you approach your goals, if you're ready to trade motivational roller coasters for rock-solid systems, do the next consistent thing right now. Subscribe to stay fueled with actionable insights. Comment below with the one identity-based habit you'll adopt this week. Like this piece to signal you're part of the consistency movement, and share it with a colleague, partner, or friend who needs the same resilient edge. Your future self and your bottom line will thank you.